Hey everyone! Today we're going to dive into a topic that gets talked about a lot but is, well, pretty misunderstood: bipolar disorder. The whole point of this explainer is to cut through some of those stereotypes and get a really clear and compassionate picture of what it means to live between these highs and lows.
And yeah, that quote is the perfect place to start. It gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's so easy to just hear bipolar and think, oh, mood swings. But the reality is so much deeper, so much more complex than that. So let's unpack what that complexity really looks like.
Okay, so first things first, we're going to build a solid foundation here, looking at what bipolar disorder actually is and why it's considered such a complex condition. We're moving past that surface-level idea of just being moody.
And this right here is the core of it. Bipolar disorder isn't just about how you feel. It actually changes a person's entire way of being, the way they think, the way they feel, and the way they act. We're not talking about small, everyday fluctuations. These are massive, intense shifts. Now, to really get a handle on this, we have to understand the poles that give the condition its name. So let's break down the two very distinct emotional states that define the experience: mania and depression.
This visual really paints a picture, doesn't it? You can see it's a spectrum with these two incredibly powerful extremes. On one side, you've got mania, this incredible peak of energy. And then on the complete other side, you have depression, a deep valley of total exhaustion. They are truly polar opposites.
So let's talk about these highs. Mania isn't just about feeling happy. It's more like being in a supercharged state. We're talking about an intense, almost boundless energy, a feeling of euphoria and thoughts that are just racing, elevated. It's a world away from a typical good mood.
And then the pendulum just swings to the other side. The depressive pole is the complete mirror opposite. It's not just feeling down, it's this profound, deep sadness that comes with an overwhelming, just crushing sense of exhaustion. All that energy from the manic episode, it's just gone.
Okay, so we've got the clinical definitions down, but what does this actually look like day to day? In this next section, we're going to shift from the abstract ideas to the actual lived experience.
And this is the million-dollar question, right? Figuring out what can set off or even worsen an episode, things like major life stress, a big change in routine, or even just not getting enough sleep. That understanding is a huge step toward getting some sense of control.
This is so important. Think of it like seeing clouds gathering before a storm. When you can recognize those early warning signs, those subtle shifts in your mood, your energy, or your thinking, it gives you a chance to act. You can use your strategies before the full episode really takes hold. It's all about being proactive, not just reacting to a crisis. Which brings us to a really hopeful and honestly empowering part of this whole discussion, because a diagnosis is absolutely not the end of the story. There are really effective ways to manage the condition and find that balanced path forward. So this is kind of like the practical toolkit for managing everything effectively. It all starts with that foundation of knowledge, really understanding the condition inside and out. And then you build on that, putting together a strong support system, creating the stability of a routine, and of course, actively managing those personal triggers we just talked about.
And the one thing that holds all of those strategies together, it's this: self-awareness. It's pretty much the most essential tool you have. It's the skill of really tuning into your own mind and body, of basically becoming an expert in your own patterns. Without it, it's almost impossible to spot the warning signs or know which triggers you need to manage.
And that self-awareness is what helps build a bridge to stability. This isn't just wishful thinking. With the right combination of professional treatment, personal strategies, and a strong support network, finding that stability is a completely achievable goal.
Let's just sit with that for a second. This might be the single most powerful message in this entire explainer. A diagnosis describes a condition someone has. It never, ever describes who they are.
And that really brings us to the core takeaway here. It's all about a fundamental shift in perspective. It's seeing bipolar disorder not as who you are, but as a health condition, one that needs ongoing attention and management, just like any other chronic illness.
Because ultimately, this is what it's all about. The purpose of every strategy, every therapy session, every bit of support is to help a person live a life that is full, balanced, and meaningful. The condition might be a part of their life, but it absolutely does not have to be their whole story.
So, I'll leave you with this final question to think about. How can we, all of us, use compassion and real awareness to change the way we see this condition? How does that knowledge actually change the conversation?
Thanks for tuning in.